So, it has been about 8 months since my last post, and I swear I was working on videos, but I never really just fully committed. And then last week, I saw that Risk Rain had finally updated and finished their roadmap plan for the Secret of the Storm DLC. And I just want to say that if you were waiting until now to buy the DLC, now it is like 110% worth it. If I'm gonna be honest, I like it more than Survivors of the Void, and Survivors of the Void was really good. And speaking of DLCs, there is actually a new one coming out soon. So if you do want me to make videos on the new Risk Rain DLC, comment down below. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the main man, the False Sun, as always. He's my probably favorite character now that they added and that they changed in Seekers of the Storm. His new abilities are really fun, and in this video we're just going to go over how his kit works and how his kit changed from the patches over the last 8 months, I guess. So now, before I explain the changes to the new ability or to the old abilities, I want to kind of go back and try to explain his most important part of his passive, which is growth. Growth is his second passive ability, which enhances some of his skills based on any bonus health he's acquired compared to his base HP. So, any health that he's gone from a Bison Stake, from Infusion, stuff like that. So, the bonus health grants stocks of Lunar Spikes or Lunar Stakes, and for each 4 new Lunar Spike stocks, Laser Burst also gets a stock, and this also increases the duration of Laser of the Father, which I'll go into soon. Now, the math calculations in the Risk of Rain wiki are crazy complicated, and honestly, I don't think you guys really want to be sitting here for that long. So, I'm just going to try to summarize it. From the first 16 health you get an extra stock. From 36 health, you get 2 stocks. From 61 bonus health, you get 3 stocks. And honestly, if you get any more health than that, then you're probably just looping, so you don't really care that much. But basically, I just want to say that Bison Stakes, Infusions, things like that are still your best friend. And honestly, it took me a while to get used to too, but I did stop recycling, or not recycling them, but scrapping them and recycling them. So make sure that you keep stuff like Bison Stake, Infusion. Prayer Beads too work once you scrap them and you get the bonus health. Prayer Beads work. Titanic Neural, Pearls, Iridium Pearls, Stonefox Pauldron, and even Spinal Tonic. Also, they all give you bonus health, so you want to keep that health so that you get the extra stocks of Lunar Spikes. And Laser of the Father increases less and less as you get more stocks. So don't be trying to collect like a million Bison Stakes just to get 2 seconds more, or 6 seconds more of Laser of the Father. So I just want to clarify this before I went into the old abilities. Now, False Sun was changed pretty drastically in terms of his strength, because obviously pre-patched False Sun was really overtuned, and 8 months ago when I made my first video on the False Sun, he was definitely way too strong. So in the last patch, they had a couple changes to him. So first off, this is more like a quality of life change. You can now use your Step of the Brothers, which is your 2 dashes, and charge either the Club Slam, which is the big slam, or the Laser of the Father. So you can dash while charging those, which just makes his neutral gameplay a lot cleaner and not as clunky. And now his primary, which is the Club of the Forsaken, the normal swing damage was increased to 450%. So that means it can proc bans just with a normal swing, which is good. And then the charge slam damage, which was really overtuned and just crazy. Its damage was reduced to 1,000%, which is still pretty good. Its knockback was reduced, and its proc coefficient was reduced to 1, even though, which that is the most justified change, because before it was 3. So that means it proc things like ATGs. You can proc it 3 times off of 1 hit. It was just crazy. I don't even know why it was 3 in the first place. So that is a good change. So overall, his club is now more of a balanced melee attack, compared to like other melee survivors which have undertuned melee attacks. Now it's more in range with everyone else's melee attack because it's not as good, and you still want to be using a slam as much as you can, obviously, because his slam is just so crazy. But his air to ground charge slam also was increased in speed. That means he drops down quicker. He's an increase in blast radius, and the proc coefficient is increased from 1 to 1.5 after 0.5 seconds of air time. So basically, if you slam when you jump or you from a higher place, it's just better overall. So you actually want to jump before you slam. You want to jump off of a little ledge before you slam because you'll do more damage and you'll proc better. Now, that's it with the Club of the Forsaken. That's all the changes. Now we're on to the Lunar Spikes, which was his secondary. First, which is a great change, the ability is changed to Agile. So basically now you can use it while sprinting, which is just it's just a great quality of life change to make the False Sun less clunky, because that was one of the problems that I had with him 8 months ago, that he felt really clunky to use if you weren't like at the start of the game. You felt super clunky and super slow. You felt like Stone, which is ironic because he is Stone. But you know, you don't want to feel like that when you're playing a game. So I think that's a great change. Also, they increased the damage to 200%, and the animation and firing time was reduced to enable faster the spike firing. So you can shoot him faster now, and the animation is quicker. So overall, it's just great changes, and I think that it'll definitely feel more better to play from now on. So now they it's onto the laser burst. They increased the damage from 1,000% to 1,250%, which is really good, and increased Lunar Spikes refill to 50% instead of 30%. So I think that overall that's just a really good change, because Laser Burst was definitely underperforming compared to Laser of the Father, and I was using it in the gameplay in the background, and I will say Laser Burst definitely did step up, and it definitely performed better than it did, and I honestly had a lot of fun using it, and I kind of prefer it over Laser of the Father now, but it did get its cooldown lengthened from 7 to 8, which honestly it's a valid trade-off, because they did buff it like crazy. They gave him a 250% more damage and increasing the Lunar Spikes refill to 50%. So I think that it's definitely a overall better ability than it was, and I'm very surprised on how it acted and how it performed. And it's just an overall really good ability to use now, and it's definitely a contender against Laser of the Father. And I also want to say that False Sun's starting damage was decreased to 12, but its scaling stat was increased. So basically, you won't be a tank in the start of the match. But you'll get stronger as the faster the game progresses. You'll get stronger. So overall, it's not that big of a change. I just thought I'd mention it because we're talking about changes to his kit. But now we're going to talk about his new abilities. Now, his new abilities they're cool. They're good, and I really like them, especially the one I'm going to talk about first, which is Lunar Stakes. Lunar Stakes, you fire a piercing, lightning-infused stake. So it's just a big lunar spike, but it's a big one, and it pierces through enemies for 300% damage. And obviously, you can gain more stakes through growth. But the thing I like most about this ability is that it counts as 2 lunar spikes. Now, we're going to talk about his passive a bit, just so I can remind you guys. His passive is unused lunar spikes give 5% attack speed and 2.5 armor, and then used spikes give 5% movement speed and 2.5 health regen. So, since this counts as 2 spikes, you can either get you get the passive in half the time. So if I want to move fast, all I have to do is just shoot out 2 spikes instead of shooting out all 4, and then I have plus 10% movement speed. And then if I want to get that attack speed and more armor, then I have to wait just the cooldown and just keep the 2 in there. Or if I just want half the armor and half, I just have to use 1. So I think that just because of the passive itself, I love this ability. But on top of that, it does such crazy damage because, number one, it's piercing. So you can go through a bunch of enemies, a bunch of ads, and it does crazy amount of damage because it's 300%, which is still really good. But It's the lightning. The lightning calls down on when it pierces an enemy and when it hits a surface. So if you hit the ground on a, let's say you're fighting a teleporter boss and you shoot the ground with your lightning, it'll hit the boss and it'll hit the ground, so it hits double damage. So it hits lightning strike twice, which I just think it's crazy. And on top of all of that, it applies Lunar Ruin, which basically makes them take 10% more damage for each stack, and it's stackable. And the lightning applies Lunar Ruin too. So if you shoot both of your Lunar Stakes at the boss and you hit the ground too with the lightning strikes, you'll get 4 stacks of Lunar Ruin, which is just that's 40%. And I know that it also does that with Lunar Spikes, but it does not do as much damage because Lunar Spikes don't have that lightning. The Lunar Stake does though, so it has that extra lightning on top of the Lunar Ruin. So you're just gonna melt the bosses because of how much damage you're doing from the stakes and the lightning and the Lunar Ruin, and it's just really. His next ability is called Meridian's Will, which is a utility skill, which means it's the other Step of the Brothers. So it's a movement skill. And I just want to say that this is probably the best movement skill in the game, probably tied up with Huntress's Triple Blink. It is just so versatile, and just I'm just gonna explain what it does. Basically, number one, it stuns, so it stuns the enemy, but you teleport to a circle or a sphere that you can hold down and place wherever, and you explode for 150% damage and pull enemies to your location, and then it triples your passive benefits for 4 seconds. I'm just gonna let that set in because I don't think people will understand on how crazy that is, but I'm just gonna explain. It triples your passive effects for 4 seconds. So basically, if I've used all your spikes and you have 2 spikes, instead of 10% movement speed, you'll get 30% movement speed for 4 seconds. Plus, on top of that, what is it? I think now it's plus 15 health regen too. So all you did was just teleport a distance. On top of all the enemies you teleport into, being stunned, getting damaged, and then you're just healing better, you're faster, or you can get more attack speed, you can get more armor, and then while all the enemies are around you, you can just charge up your slam and then slam all of them while they're all next to you because you pull them in. This is probably the best utility skill on almost all of the survivors. Its movement capabilities on top of its damage capabilities just make it better than everything else in the game. So if you're on Verdant Falls and you have to teleport on one of the flower or the leaves on top of you, if you just aim up, you'll see that the sphere kind of goes on top of the leaf, and you can teleport just right up there. And then now you just have complete vertical and horizontal movement, and it has, I think, a 10-second or a 10-second cooldown. So it is definitely one. If I'm being honest, I'm using it over Step of the Brothers any day, and I just think that it's 10 times better. Because Step of the Brothers, sure, you have that more controlled movement, like your Triple Blink on Huntress, but you just can't you just saw in the gameplay right there. I teleport across the entire little rock section right there, and then I already have it back too. So I know I'm glazing like crazy on this ability, but I just think that this is definitely a must-have on the False Sun if you want a good run, especially if you have things like bans, because then you can teleport inside of enemies, dealing damage, stunning them so they can't hit you, charging up your slam, and then just slamming down everyone, and then they all get affected by the fire ban, and then or you can attack Mithrix, or you can stun them as well. It's just such a good ability, and I think that this Outcast Step of the Brothers tenfold. It's definitely what I'm gonna be using from now on for a good run. So this is a crazy ability. Now finally, I just have a couple of tips I want to go over. So first, Backup Mag, which Backup Mag is still a really good item on the False Sun, but it does not give the it doesn't count towards growth, obviously. So it won't give you extra laser burst stacks, and it won't give you extra time for your Laser of the Father, but it will give you more armor and attack speed based on your passive. So while it won't give you more duration for Laser of the Father or Laser Burst, it will give you more armor and attack speed. It will count towards that part of the passive, not your growth part of the passive. The second tip is revolving around items. So items like the Focus Crystal, Delicate Watch, and Crowbar greatly increase the False Sun's like damage output, especially with Club Slam with your Focus Crystal, because he is a melee character, but he's not like a melee character like Acrid, where he's a melee character, but then he has the poison where he just flies far away and waits for them to die by poison. He's actually in their face like all the time, especially if you're using Meridian's Will, my GOAT level, my GOAT status utility skill. You'll be in their face all the time, and you want Focus Crystal, and you want that extra damage on top of it. And also, Prayer Beads do grant growth, but only when they're removed from a player's inventory. But you have to have the sufficient amount of buffs, like the stacks, in order to get that bonus health. So make sure don't just instantly scrap a Prayer Bead for that extra growth stacks. You need to wait a little bit. I'll probably wait like a stage or two when you have prayer beads, and then you scrap it to get that growth stacks from it. Finally, I just want to say that for Lunar Stakes, since it does count towards 2 Lunar Spikes, you have to get 2 stocks of growth in order to get another Lunar Stake. So while having Lunar Spikes, you only need to get 16 bonus health to get another stock. For Lunar Stake, you have to get actually 36 bonus health in order to get another stock, since it counts towards 2. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe and comment for more videos like this. And if you have any tips, I'll try to post more videos, and I'll definitely post a video about the new DLC. And if you like videos, like if you liked videos like these, I mean, I wasn't on a script the entire time. I don't know if you could tell. So I was just going off of my own personal opinion, which I kind of like, instead of just writing something down. If you like videos like these, please let me know. And yeah, I hope I won't see you in 8 months, but I'll see you later.